There is a kind of man who does not need to introduce himself. He enters a room, sits down, and says nothing, yet the atmosphere changes. No intimidation, no performance, no forced confidence. Just wait. Most men never experience this kind of presence because they confuse power with noise. They believe strength must be proven, displayed, validated. So they talk more, they move faster, they react instantly, and in doing so, they leak the very power they are trying to project. The samurai saw this 4 centuries ago. In Bushido, the loud man was not feared, he was watched. Because anyone who cannot control his impulses cannot control a blade, a battlefield, or a life. The tiger does not growl to announce dominance. He does not pace nervously. He does not chase everything that moves. He rests. He watches. He waits. And when he moves, the outcome is already decided. This is the first lesson of the quiet tiger. Real power never rushes to be seen. Miyamoto Musashi understood this deeply. He fought over 60 duels, and yet he warned against the spirit of contention. He believed that a man obsessed with winning arguments, showing skill, or proving superiority was already distracted. Musashi wrote that the way is found in stillness, not because stillness is passive, but because stillness is unbroken attention. Modern productivity culture tells men to stay busy. The samurai trained themselves to stay clear. There is a difference. Busy men react, clear men decide. The quiet tiger does not wake up chasing momentum. He wakes up grounded. His nervous system is calm. His mind is settled. He does not need external stimulation to feel alive, because his attention is already sharp. This is why his presence feels heavy. Most men walk through life leaking energy emotionally, mentally, digitally. They comment, explain, justify, defend. The samurai conserved energy the way others conserve gold, because energy is power. In ancient Japan, a warrior who wasted movement was corrected. Every step, every gesture, every word was meant to have purpose. Even stillness was trained. You were not taught to act fast. You were taught to act right, and right action comes from restraint. Restraint is misunderstood today. People think it means suppression or weakness. In Bushido, restraint was proof of inner order. A man who could sit with tension without reacting was trusted with responsibility. This is where silent dominance is born. Not dominance over others, dominance over impulse. The quiet tiger does not interrupt. He does not argue to win. He does not explain himself to be understood. He lets his actions close the conversation. When such a man finally speaks, people listen not because he demands attention, but because his silence trained it. This is presence-based power. It is not charisma. It is not charm. It is coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned. Nothing is pulling you in 10 directions. Nothing is screaming for validation. This alignment is felt instantly by others. Humans are wired to sense nervous systems. Calm authority settles rooms. Frantic ambition destabilizes them. The samurai knew this long before neuroscience. Before battle, warriors were trained to empty the mind, not to become emotionless, but to remove unnecessary friction. Fear, ego, excitement, and anger all cloud judgment. A con blade cuts straighter. The quiet tiger trains himself to move from clarity, not adrenaline. He does not need to hype himself up. He does not need external pressure to perform. And this is why he outlasts. In a world addicted to speed, patience becomes a weapon. In a world drowning in noise, silence becomes leverage. In a world obsessed with forcing outcomes, the man who knows how to wait gains advantage without effort. Waiting is not wasting time. Waiting is choosing position. The tiger does not sprint across the jungle all day. he positions himself. Where success becomes inevitable. When he moves, there is no hesitation, only execution. This is the foundation of the productive samurai. You do not do more. You do not move faster. You do not shout louder. You sharpen presence. You remove excess. You reduce friction. You let unnecessary urgency die, and slowly, something changes. Your decisions become cleaner. Your work becomes deeper. Your confidence stops needing proof. People begin to feel something around you, a calm gravity. Not intimidation, not performance, but certainty. The quiet tiger wins not by overpowering the world, but by refusing to be pulled into its chaos. This is the way. Not loud, not rushed, not soft. Most men think productivity is about motion. Early mornings, full calendars, constant pressure. They believe that if they slow down, they will fall behind. The samurai believed the opposite. They understood something modern men have forgotten. Uncontrolled speed creates weakness. Before battle, a warrior did not hype himself up. He did not pace nervously or rehearse outcomes in his head. He sat, he breathed, he settled his spirit. Why? Because action born from inner noise multiplies mistakes. Miyamoto Musashi warned against what he called a wavering mind. A man who rushes is not decisive, he is anxious, and anxiety burns energy faster than any heart. Work ever could, the quiet tiger does not confuse urgency with importance. He knows that frantic motion feels productive, but produces shallow results. So, he trains the opposite skill, stillness under pressure. This is not laziness. This is efficiency at its highest level. When the mind is calm, it sees clearly. When it sees clearly, it chooses fewer battles. When it chooses fewer battles, it wins more of them. Most men exhaust themselves not because life is hard, but because they respond to everything. Messages, opinions, notifications, other people's expectations. The samurai protected attention the way a village protected its gates. Not everything was allowed inside. The quiet tiger does not wake up asking, "What should I do today?" He wakes up knowing what not to do. This is where real productivity begins, subtraction. Musashi trained in isolation not because he rejected the world, but because mastery requires silence. You cannot hear your own thinking when you are constantly reacting. Deep work does not come from motivation. It comes from containment. The quiet tiger contains his energy. He does not scatter it across 10 goals. He does not chase trends. He does not multitask his way into mediocrity. He chooses one cut and sharpens it daily. This is how samurai trained, not with endless techniques, but with relentless refinement of fundamentals. A single strike practiced 10,000 times becomes unstoppable. Modern men burn out because they stack habits without mastery. They confuse variety with growth. The quiet tiger builds depth. He works in focused blocks, then stops. He respects recovery because he understands rhythm. Just like combat, productivity has seasons: advance, pause, observe, strike again. Stillness is not the absence of effort. It is effort without waste. When a man learns to sit still without reaching for distraction, he regains sovereignty over his mind. That alone places him ahead of most of the world. The samurai trained their breathing not for calmness alone, but for control. Breath anchors attention. Attention guides action. The quiet tiger uses this daily. When pressure rises, he slows his breath. When deadlines approach, he narrows focus. When others panic, he simplifies, and because of this, his output carries weight. Not rushed work, not sloppy effort, but clean execution. Calm men compound. Frantic men flame out. This is the hidden advantage of presence-based productivity. You may appear slower in the beginning, but you finish stronger, and you stay standing. The quiet tiger does not glorify exhaustion. He does not brag about working through the night. He sees burnout as a failure of strategy, not a badge of honor. He knows that a broken warrior cannot fight again tomorrow. So, he trains consistency over intensity, day after day, cut after cut, quiet progress, and eventually something shifts. While others chase motivation, he builds momentum. While others force results, he attracts outcomes. While others burn hot, he burns long. This is how real men win in the modern world, without becoming machines, without becoming soft, and without losing themselves. The quiet tiger produces more not by doing more, but by being unavailable to chaos. This is the way. Not frantic, not scattered, not exhausted. Part 3. The man who is dangerous, yet unprovoked. There is a mistake many men make when they hear the word strength. They imagine aggression, dominance displays, constant intensity. The samurai rejected this image completely. In Bushido, a man who was easily provoked was considered unstable. A man who needed to prove his power was considered unreliable. And a man ruled by anger was considered already defeated because his enemy could control him simply by pulling the right emotional string. The quiet tiger is dangerous for a very different reason. He is dangerous because he is not reactive. He does not flinch at disrespect. He does not rush to defend his ego. He does not take every challenge personally. This is not passivity. This is command over the self. Musashi wrote that the greatest victory is the one achieved before the sword is drawn, not because conflict is avoided out of fear, but because clarity dissolves unnecessary conflict. Most men today are exhausted by emotional labor they never needed to perform. They argue online, they compare constantly, they posture in rooms where nothing is at stake. The quiet tiger does none of this. He saves force for moments that matter. This is masculine virtue in its highest form, restraint backed by capability. A man who is harmless must shout to be heard. A man who is capable can afford silence. The samurai trained relentlessly so that, in real moments, nothing needed to be proven. Their discipline existed so they could move without hesitation, not without control. The quiet tiger follows the same code. He trains his body, but he also trains his nervous system. He sharpens skill, but also emotional steadiness. He builds ambition, but removes desperation, because desperation is weakness. When a man needs an outcome to badly, he becomes sloppy. He overextends. He tolerates disrespect. He chases validation disguised as success. The quiet tiger wants success, but he does not beg life for it. He positions himself. This is why his presence feels grounded rather than needy. Why his confidence feels calm rather than loud. Why people sense authority without him demanding it. He knows who he is, what he's capable of, and what he refuses to do. And refusal is power. He refuses chaos. He refuses ego games. He refuses to let the world dictate his inner state. This is what makes him formidable. Not rage, not bravado, but composure under pressure. The samurai believed that a man who mastered his inner weather could walk through storms. Untouched, the quiet tiger lives this daily in work, relationships, and conflict. And because of this, he does not need to dominate others. His discipline already dominates circumstances. Part 4. Walking the way of the quiet tiger. The way of the quiet tiger is not a philosophy you admire. It is a way you live. It shows up in small, unglamorous decisions, repeated daily. You wake up without rushing. You begin the day by settling the mind, not stimulating it. You choose 1 or 2 meaningful objectives, not 10 distractions. You work deeply, then you stop. You train your body without abusing it. You consume information selectively. You do not fill silence automatically. You do not respond immediately. You do not explain yourself. Unless it serves a purpose, your schedule reflects your values. Your habits reflect your priorities. Your energy reflects your discipline. This is how authority is built quietly, not by grinding endlessly, not by soft self-indulgence, but by balance sharpened into precision. The quiet tiger understands rhythm. Advance. Pause. Observe. Adjust. Just like combat, he knows when to push and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act decisively and when to let time do the work. This patience is not weakness, it is strategy. The samurai did not fight every battle. They chose the terrain. They chose the timing. They chose the moment. The quiet tiger does the same with life. He does not chase opportunity blindly. He prepares so opportunity cannot miss him. He does not fear being underestimated. He understands that surprise is an advantage. Over time, his life compounds. His work gains depth. His body gains resilience. His mind gains stillness. And something subtle but undeniable happens. People listen when he speaks. They trust his judgment. They feel his steadiness, not because he demands respect, but because his way of moving through the world earns it. This is how a man wins today without becoming toxic, without becoming soft, without burning himself hollow. He becomes quietly undeniable. The quiet tiger wins not by overpowering the world, but by refusing to be pulled into its chaos. This is the way. Not loud, not rushed, not soft,